since 2008, and it happened on your watch, and this was a campaigning pledge. This is politically and personally disastrous and disgraceful. There's no spinning it. There's no getting out of it. I appreciate you haven't stabbed anybody yourself, but if you campaign saying you will bring it down and then it goes up exponentially, some of that has to stick.
Well, it's catastrophic for these bereaved families, by the way.
Of course.
I mean, my political prospects are...
No, but they're not here, Sadiq Khan. You are. I'm talking to you and about you.
But I speak to them all the time, bereaved families. And the knife crime plan we published last summer was as a result of speaking to bereaved families, experts, ex-members of gangs, people who are involved in this area, specialists, Ofsted and many others. And that knife crime plan is doing its job. In November and December, record numbers of arrests made, a third of which through stop and search, 350 weapons seized,
but you can bombard me with these numbers, and I just throw the number back at you. 80 people got stabbed last year, and it's gone up to the highest level since 2008.
And this is why I make the really important point.
It's not working, whatever it is that you're doing.
Well, yes and no. It takes some time for these strategies to take its course. Look, the police are being tough on knife crime, but we've got to realise we've got to be tough on the causes of knife crime. That means, for example, we've got to invest in young people, education, prevention, youth centres, in A&Es, in trauma centres, in role models, in getting influencers speaking to young people. Every time a young person chooses to pick up a knife, that is a failure. That's why there's a campaign to educate young people. Parents have a role to play, all of us have a role to play.
And yet there is this sense that the cuts have provided politicians like you with the mother of all fig leaves, because ultimately you can say things would be better if central government hadn't cut our budget and cut council budgets, because that impacts directly upon policing.
Well, let me give you an example of a non-politician. Today, the most senior officer in charge of organised crime, the Chief Constable of Merseyside Police, never met this man. He has said today that as a consequence of government cuts, tackling organised crime is more difficult because of fewer neighbourhood officers. So put aside what I might say in self-interest in relation to police cuts. It ain't just police cuts. Police and probation, reoffending's going up. Look at youth services closing down. Look at education budgets being reduced. Look at mental health budgets being reduced. All this must have an effect. We know prevention must be better than enforcement. We're doing lots of work on enforcement, lots of work on prevention in the context of massive cuts to not just the police budget, but public services across London and across the country.
There's been the phrase used is an IED, an improvised explosive device, that went off at Parsons Green station in a tube that was coming from the Wimbledon side going upwards. 18 people have been injured, taken to 3 hospitals across London. Within moments, the brilliant TfL staff were helping commuters embark and get to safety. Also, local shopkeepers and commuters were helping other passengers who may have been hurt. Thankfully, no life-threatening injuries, and I'm also told, and this is no comfort to those who have been hurt, no serious injuries. There is a manhunt underway as we speak.
Does that mean that the police have a key suspect in mind?
Well, I'm simply not allowed. It won't be sensible for me to discuss what the police have and what they don't have.
But if it's a manhunt, then they're hunting for a man. Forgive me.
Well, a person. I mean, I use a gender-neutral phrase, but the police and security services are following all lines of inquiries. And my message to Londoners is I've got the utmost confidence in the police and the experts to catch those responsible. What's important, though, is to say this to Londoners. They will see over the course of today and the next few days an enhanced police presence, not simply in our public transport network, but also across London. There will be additional TfL staff wearing high vis, not simply to reassure Londoners, but to make sure we're all doing our bit to stay vigilant and to stay alert. If anybody has any information at all about those responsible for this attack, or any other information which they think may or may not be relevant, please let the police know. There is a special counter-terror hotline, 0800 789 321. If it's an emergency, of course they can ring 999, but it's really important we do our bit to help the police chase down the lines of inquiry.
The President of America, Donald Trump, has taken to Twitter, nothing surprising there, but he appears to be either breaching intelligence that has been shared with him when he describes people who were in the sights of Scotland Yard, and has gone further to say that this incident has led him to call for larger, tougher travel bans in response to the latest London attack. Could you give me your response to that, Sadiq Khan?
Well, look, I mean, I've simply been too busy this morning to look at my Twitter.
No, not that. The fact that the President of America appears to have either speculated wildly about a terror attack in our city or breached shared intelligence.
Look, I'm simply not going to go there, James. My priority is making sure that we do what we can to keep Londoners safe. Our priority today is catching the individual or individuals responsible, and the police and security services and all of us are doing our bit to make sure that happens. Later on this afternoon, I'll of course be attending Cobra, and I think what's important is cool, calm heads are heard now. That means making sure that we're all vigilant, we're all alert, but I'm hopefully the last person who speculates on these sorts of things. My job as the Mayor of London is to receive the reassurance that I need, and I have received that from our fantastic police, security services, British Transport Police, TfL staff who are doing an important job this morning. And I say this, of course, in the last few months we've seen a shift from attempts from terrorists to harm us, to disrupt our way of life. The phrase used by the counter-terror experts is, this is not a spike, this is a shift. And you look across Western Europe, from Barcelona to Paris to Brussels to Stockholm, from Rotterdam to Manchester, there are terrorists who want to harm us, who want to divide our communities, and we've got to make sure we're vigilant and we're alert. And my message to Londoners is, when you see an increased police presence today, when you see an enhanced police presence on our public transport, please don't be alarmed. They're there to keep us safe, but we will have a responsibility to alert the police if we have any intelligence, any information that can help them do their job to keep us safe.
Finally, Sadiq Khan, just to clarify, when you say that a manhunt is underway, that does rather suggest that the police have a suspect in mind.
The police, as you'd expect, are focusing on the investigation. The police's priority is making sure they catch whoever is responsible. I'm confident they'll do so, and justice will happen.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
OK, what about President Trump saying that he's not going to come to the United Kingdom and open this embassy? What is your thoughts, your reflections on that?
Well...
Oh, have we lost him? Have we lost Raham? What a crying shame. Well, we will move on. We've just got a very brief statement, actually, regarding that story about President Trump not coming to the United Kingdom to open that embassy. Raham, are you back? Is he back?
Right here.
Smashing. I'd just like to get your thoughts on the fact that President Trump has said that he's not going to be coming to the United Kingdom to open the US embassy.
Yes, well, I don't blame him. You have a situation whereby Sadiq Khan, as the Mayor of London, has really been tub-thumping, trying to get President Trump not to attend, said multiple times he's not welcome in the capital, really fomenting a situation where you might have some riots or street protests if the President came to open that embassy. By the way, I think the President's wrong when he says that the embassy in South London is a bad deal. I think firstly, it wasn't Obama who approved that embassy. It was George W. Bush who approved that embassy. Secondly, it didn't cost the American taxpayer anything because they actually sold off a bunch of buildings to pay for it. So I think he is wrong on that. I think he should have come out and told the honest truth, which is that he doesn't particularly want to visit Sadiq Khan's London, which is the acid attack capital of the world per capita, where you have in the last year soaring knife crime, soaring burglary, soaring rape, soaring youth homicide. And Sadiq Khan seems to be concerning himself more with matters of state, which he isn't elected to do, than actually solving the situation of crime in London. And it is soaring. And I have to say this, and you'll excuse me for being churlish about it, but places like Sky News and the BBC and all the best and brightest journalists in the country are not covering this.
What do you mean?
Well,
every single day we are covering stories about whether it's knife crimes or attacks where they happen up and down the country. What proof do you have?
What proof do you have? Well, the proof is, can you answer me? What's the at what rate did knife crime go up by in London last year?
I'm asking you. I'm interviewing you. What proof
I know.
do you have?
Well, I know. It's not great with the shoes on the other foot. Do you know how much youth homicide went up by in London last year? Have you told your viewers that? 70%. Have you looked at the mayoral's police and crime report from December the 12th? You look at that, almost every single measure out of 42, only 4 of them in 4 categories did crime go down. In every single other area, double-digit rises in crime across London. So you know what? To borrow a phrase from